Bro, do you see the bounce on this thing? Oh my god, dude. So what's going on, guys? My name is CG Build, and welcome back to another video. Today we have a keyboard from Akko, the SPR67. Let me tell you, this thing's pretty good. Like, you want to talk about bounce? There you go. So this is Akko's new spring-mounted bare bones kit. I mean, it's just like the name. Springs. You got springs. That's how it's mounted on this thing. I mean, I touch a lot of keyboards and have to work with them and stuff. This feels really nice to be able to, I was like pretty excited about this because it's new, especially when it turns out that new is like really good. So before we get into building this thing and I show you how to build this thing and the couple different sound tests and stuff like that, let's go ahead and look at exactly what you're going to be getting. So of course you get the case. Following that, you get a PCB, which it is south facing. Pretty cool. No LEDs or anything like that, which I don't really care for RGB or LEDs and stuff like that. You also get two plates, one FR4 and then the other palm. So for these springs, you actually get a 170, a 230, and then a one that's like a warning. Now at first, like when I first saw this, I was like, dude, this was the one I'm gonna have to use. It's like danger. Like, when have you ever had danger building a keyboard? It's like, oh, this is the spring you're gonna die by. But it turns out that it's actually just warning you, saying that this is a really light spring and that it could potentially mess up. Now I honestly don't think it'll happen, but they had to put the warning there for some reason. Now I'm gonna have a sound test using all of them, so stick around for that. So as you can see, you have a lot of bags. It was kind of overwhelming. Like, looking at all of them, like, dude, how the fuck am I gonna build this? This is gonna be like a couple hour process, but it is really simple once you actually get to building this thing. I promise. Just stick with me and we'll get through it. So looking more at the case, this is a 65% build. The case is fully aluminum, and then you have the little gold piece. It's just like a piece of plastic. You do have the little gold piece that's in between the whole thing all the way around. And it is pretty plastic. Like, once you open it up, you'll see that it's pretty plastic. There's nothing really crazy about it. If you turn it over to the back, it looks pretty good. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of like anodized weights. I don't know. I feel like if it was like some kind of different texture, or maybe the same as even the case, even though it's white, you can't really tell it too much. But the weight itself is, I mean, it looks good no matter what. It's just not my favorite weight on anything, but nonetheless, it still looks really good. You have the SPR67, which is a little crazy wavy font. Then you get the Akko logo at the bottom right. So this thing feels really solid. Like, it's all rounded out. It reminds me, at least from the roundness, of the Parallel Limited sequence board. That board's kind of all round and everything. It clearly doesn't have a line in between, but that's it for all that. Now you do get some foam and different, like, their own tape mod. I'm not going to use that just because I wanted to really hear what this board had to offer, and we do use some foam, which we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and see how we build this thing, because it was daunting for me at first. So exactly how you build this thing: once you flip it over and you take out all these screws on the back, which they are hex screws, which they do include a little piece for that. And now you have all three pieces laying out: top part, the bottom part, and then the little plastic gold piece. So first you want to grab the pieces that look like this in this bag, and you're going to put these into these two holes on either side of the keyboard. You just screw them in. That's it. Next, we're going to go ahead and pick the spring. Now for the spring, you're going to see me install the 170 weight, which we'll get into that later, but I'm going to use all of them, so we're good. So you just kind of push them on. Now, they are kind of hard to get on there. Not too hard, but I did see some flaking with the 170 because they are like gold, like plated. Like, they're not actually gold, so there are a little bit of crumbs, I don't know what you call it, like sparkles of the chips coming off, so just be wary of that. And I actually put them on there. I mean, you just push, like, you find little divots everywhere and you push it on there. Now you want to get the little dampeners that they have, these little silicone dampeners, which are pretty cool. You stick one end, that's the thicker part, into the spring, and then the other one with the little nipple piece actually goes onto the PCB and the plate whenever you actually put it all together, so it's kind of a little bit more stable. Now we're going to move on to the stabilizers. These stabilizers come unlubed, and I mean, you gotta lube them. I mean, you don't have to, like, they're already assembled, but you might as well lube them. They're already apart. Just go ahead and do that. I used Krytox 205 grade 0. I did the housings and the stem, a lot on the wire. Stuck it on. Pretty much that's how we're gonna be doing it. So now that we're already putting them onto the plate I actually went with is the palm plate. Personally, I love the Akko FR4 plate. They're probably one of the best plates in my opinion. But another YouTuber that does keyboards went ahead and used it, and because I want to be a little bit different, which thank you for that. I actually had a whole bunch of videos already lined up, so I wish I would have been able to do this video sooner, but once again, all good. So like I said, we are going to be using the palm plate. Now it is time for the switches. The switches we're going to be using are the new ones from Akko, the Akko V3 cream switches. Now these are linear, which I think in his video he actually did the blue ones, the other ones. So there's a little bit of variation here. These things are pretty good. I do like them. I didn't lube them as well. Like, you don't need to lube these. They're that good. So for the foam I used the one that goes in between the PCB and the plate. And then I put the one at the bottom of the case. That's all I used. I didn't use any of the extra stuff because, once again, I wanted to hear exactly what this spring mount has to offer. So once you have all that in and you put the top part back on with the gold piece in the middle, I kind of squished it together and then put in the screws. And don't forget the feet. Now moving on to the keycaps. Keycaps I went with are some from Novel Keys, which I did buy myself just because I really wanted a all white cherry set, and I haven't had one yet. So I don't know why. It'll be really good on a lot of boards. So these are the milkshake keycap. Now the cool thing about them is that they have little modifiers for like cool little things that instead of it being like escape or like a backspace, it actually has like an X with like a dash, and like the arrows are weird. It's pretty cool. I like this set. I also have some like color modifiers, but as you can tell, I went all white here. I think it was a good touch. Super clean looking. Like the really nice thick legends that are black, and then you have like the all white with just the gold accent around the whole thing. I like it. I think it's really like clean looking. Kind of sterile, but I mean it's nice. Now that the whole thing is kind of built, I want to show you the flex. This thing has a lot. Now we are going to go ahead and do a sound test. I have all 3 different springs in here, and let's go ahead and hear those. So you can tell it's pretty bouncy. So for the 170 gram, it's the medium option. Me personally, it's for some reason I didn't like it as much. Like, it's either in my head go super light, go super heavy. Like, it is gonna be your opinion. Like, you can do whatever you want. Like, the heavy ones might be a little bit too heavy, but for sound, and at least for my use, I did like the heavier ones, or the other side of the spectrum, the lighter ones, the one that are the warning, which at first I thought the warning was like really heavy switches, like, oh, but no, they weren't. So they're actually 120 grams, like I said earlier in the video. Now, I like the 120 gram because you can move, it does move a lot. Now, with that being said, and y'all know I wanted to use the FR4 plate, I could help myself, so I went ahead and did another sound test with the FR4 plate. Swapped everything out and just did the exact same thing, but now it is an FR4 plate. So here you go. These are the 120 gram springs as well. So, hey, it actually didn't make too much of a difference, in my opinion, of the Palm versus FR4. Probably because there's like a lot of space, like it's mounted with springs, like nothing's really touching. I guess that has something to do with it. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Now, all of this is priced at $200. Now, yes, it is a little bit on the expensive side, which, I mean, let's be honest here. It's pretty cool. It is more unique. It's not like their mod series. It's a little bit different. So I like it. It is a little bit pricey, but once again, like, you're getting something really nice here. So I think it is a cop. This is a cop. It's very nice. Now, that is the end of the video. Hopefully you did enjoy. I had a great time building this thing. I think the white keycaps look so sick on this board. Like, the whole thing just itself looks so good. The weight on the back, once again, isn't my favorite, but it is, I mean, it's definitely good. It looks cool. But yeah, that is the end of the video once again, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. I have a lot of different keyboards coming up recently, and you don't want to miss that. They're pretty cool.